Well, hello there, my brothers and sisters. It's Josh Packard. Welcome to another episode of the Golden Image of Churchianity's Lie. Today, I want to remind you that while you were an enemy, Christ died and rose again on your behalf, making you born again. You've been utterly redeemed. While you're an enemy to Him, in your ignorance, it was done for you. You were done. It was done for you ever born, before you ever knew anything. You have been utterly saved from your birth, not knowing it. Somebody has beguiled you. And instead of Satan, in the same way Satan deceived Eve, you've been deceived. And I'm trying to undo that deception today, as every day. But I want you to know, Satan's deception to Eve was made in the image and dominion of God. She was an exact likeness to the Lord. But Satan said, oh, no, 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 no. Hey, if you eat of this tree of knowledge of good and evil, and that day, God knows your eyes will be open, then you'll be like Him, knowing good from evil. So she's all, oh, okay. And so in her good intention and, her desire to be wise like God, she ate of the fruit, and then you know the rest. Well, today, we're all eating the fruit that the church is spewing to us that says you have to believe to be saved. Bullshit. You were already saved. If to believe to be saved, you're doing the same steps as Eve, and you're leaving God's righteousness in pursuit of another righteousness. God's righteousness is plain, you guys. It's not anything special. It's just look in the mirror. There you are. There's no other you to judge yourself by as to whether or not you're a good enough you. It's just you. So you can either believe your opinion through sin and say that you're not adequate and a sinner and still falling short and you're still not good enough in every way, or you hear the word of the Lord and believe Him. That same person in the mirror you attribute righteousness to and holiness to, that you're pleasing to God, that He loves you, that you are new, that you are a priest and king before God because He made you so. You have the choice today. You want to believe your eyes, your ears, or do you want to hear the Lord and trust Him and believe Him? Okay? I want you guys to know your humility and saying, oh, nobody's perfect until we cross Jordan, or we're all just sinners saved by grace, or we're all sinners. By saying that, you dishonor God to His face, just so you know. In view of your own humility, and you prefer your own humility over the victory of God. It popularly sounds as though you're being humble, but you're in direct rebellion to God, and you are not humble before God. And what's worse is you're teaching people that are weak and that are frail, and you have entered the kingdom yourself, and you're preventing them that were. Okay? I'm sorry, guys. The doctrine that you have to believe or accept Jesus as your Savior, or that you've got to make a decision for Christ or turn or burn or whatever it is, anyone who preaches that is an agent of Satan, 100%. And every church is a church of Satan. Just because you call Satan Jesus doesn't make Satan Jesus, you guys. So Satan reigns in the churches today, every one of them. If that is the foundation, what would they talk about? Every Christian song I hear, if you gotta believe, if you just believe, if you just do this, if you just make a decision, if you just, all the songs like, this is righteousness for anyone that believes. It's like, oh my God, you're totally missing the point here. So anyways, folks, those people who are preaching what Satan did, and what Satan said to Eve, the ones that are preaching it to you are in Satan's stead, messengers of light. And they're deceived, and they're deceiving you, and you are deceived as well. Okay. That being said, I want you guys to go on to know that Christ has utterly redeemed you. You were born again that day when Christ rose from the dead. You always have been saved. God has always been pleased with you. You've always been right with God. You just didn't know it, because you thought it was by your knowledge of good and evil, because you're like Eve. So, anyway, that being said today, and since I want you to know that I believe that you're utterly saved, it was all done by Christ, for Christ, through Christ, according to His own good will that He foreordained before the foundation of the world, that He was faithful. That's why you're saved, period. Like I always like to say, the way I know that you're saved is that Christ rose from the dead. Not because you look like a Christian at all. I don't give a shit. Okay, you've been utterly saved. Now, that being said, we got to talk about Christian living, because this has been a question that comes up every so often, and it's one that I think that we should all know, but it creeps back every now and then. And trust me, I've had to go through this too, and I'm not perfect by any means. But I want you guys to know, if you want the blessings of God and the peace of God, you have to abide in God. You can't just go out and use what God has given you to satisfy your lusts. You can't go out and be getting drunk and, rousing around and, having, promiscuous sex and doing this stuff and expect to maintain the joy of the Lord. The Lord will remove it away from you quick, fast, and in a hurry, because he's a good dad. If you're going out and blaspheming his name, going around bringing dishonor to the family, God will take away your enjoyment of life quickly. And especially for us who are believers, God comes down on me like a ton of bricks whenever I do stuff. And, typically the stuff that he gets me now for is anytime I'm a hypocrite. Anytime I pretend to be something I'm not, or stand on some sort of good deed that I've done or anything, or try to even at all suppose to myself to be superior to another, God will humiliate me quick, fast, in a hurry. And I mean quick, fast, in a hurry. I can't hold secrets. I can't hold secrets in order to make myself look more superior to another person in my life, better in any way. I can't do it. If I do it, he will bear my secrets out in front of everybody. If I held my secrets, I can't hold my secrets. So my wife, it bothers her because I'm so open, but it's like I have to be. If I don't, God will smack it to me, or I'll lose my joy or my peace. Because the big deal about what the gospel is not just what we say about, and utterly, I'm telling you the correct gospel, that the Lord has saved you by himself, for himself, done. But now my life has to match that. So I have to be whatever I am, all bare loose and saved, so that people can see that the Lord saved an asshole like me, so that if they're assholes, God will save them too. My actions have to match my mouth, you guys. So that's what God nails me on now. But for those of us who are still employing our freedom to sin, well, God's going to take away your joy and your peace. He's going to take away your enjoyment of life, and you're going to lose everything. You're going to be miserable and wretched and not understand even where it's coming from, not even realizing that it's the Lord doing it to you. Because we have to abide in him. We have to seek him and his righteousness. There's a stipulation here. If you want to have God's hope and his peace and his joy, you have to seek him and his righteousness. Then he'll provide everything. And I'm here to tell you, it took me a long time to figure that one out. I mean, in honesty, So seeking his righteousness is really, you have to, first of all, be yourself. You have to manifest yourself. And the best way that I can explain this is that all through my life, I could never find anyone. I could never fit in ever. I never felt like I ever fit in with any person in my life. Never in my life. And I used to blame them for it. But then you realize, wait a minute, I'm fake. The people I was attracting were people who were attracted to the guy I was trying to be, not really me. So I start thinking about other people. I start looking at them and I go, they're really fake to each other too. Nobody has a relationship with each other because each of them is presenting to each other what they want to be perceived as. So they're not in truth. So in the relationships, there's no truth being transferred. They're only accepting the counterfeit. So there's really no knowledge of each other, and there can't be love if that's the case. Not true love. The true love comes from knowledge, and the only way that you can have knowledge is if people are open and genuine with each other, and really whom God created them to be, not the hypocrites they are. So rather, in order to have fellowship one with another, you must first be in the truth. And that's the way it is with the Lord. If you're trying to be righteous and religious, you can't know him. The only way you can know the Lord is to be shed from your self-righteous tendencies, to be shucked from all your fakeness, and then you see the value of trading the true currency, which is the truth, Once you can do that, then you share the truth with the Lord, and now you can have fellowship with him. Today, I can't fellowship with many people. Only guys that are believers, because they're just themselves. They're nothing else. So the only people I can really enjoy myself around are people that have this knowledge. And I really enjoy it because it's so good to be around people who are genuine and open and able to laugh at themselves and to show their failings and shortcomings and have no pretense. It's just fun. But this is how you get the blessing of the Lord, is by laying down all your pretenses and all your falseness and all your efforts at trying to conform to some sort of image of righteousness that you've imagined, which slaps God in the face. So today, I want you to live as though you've been saved. Live as though there's no one taking account of your sins. Live as though you are right before God, that you please him. Live as though you are pleasing to God in your own conscience, that you are right with God. Live that way. Watch what happens. Dare to believe that you're a saint. Dare to believe that you are whole, that God has done his work and completed it in you, that you are now a child of God. Okay? You need to live this way. For your family's sake, for your sake, for your society's sake, and for just plain enjoyment of life. And stay away from substances. I've done every drug you can imagine on the face of the earth, and every combination of it, and as much as you can possibly do. I've done tons of it. Okay, throughout my entire life, because I was a vacuous hole. Sex, fighting, drugs. I mean, everything I could do to fill this vacuum of the human that I was. Okay? One of the biggest testaments to me and the Lord is that I don't need anything anymore. I don't even take aspirin unless I absolutely need it. You know what I mean? I don't have any dependence upon any chemicals anywhere. And I don't have to fight over it. I don't worry about it. I don't even think about it. And the interesting thing is because I'm so happy all the time. I'm so full. I don't want to leave this. Alcohol actually detracts away from this feeling that I have in myself. Drugs are not even anywhere close to this happiness and the joy I feel every day and every moment. But whenever I was so miserable, they gave me a temporary release, or a relative release, because I was still not even where I am now. Just high on life, shall we say. This is where we all need to be. I mean, you can do whatever you want, and you're still saved, but in order to enjoy the Lord and in order to enjoy his salvation and enter his rest now, you've got to be sober. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have a beer here and there and just enjoy yourself or at a gathering or whatnot, but whenever you're medicating, and you know the difference. There's people who are medicating. You smoking tons of weed, drinking lots of beer, lots of alcohol, whatever they're doing, but it's in order just to medicate, to get peace, it's a crutch. Well, I'm here to tell you, if you want to have the blessing of God, yet you're letting that rule you over God, God's still not going to give you the blessing. If you know the truth, God is going to be more harsh to you than someone who doesn't know the truth, because he has to, because he's your dad. You're going to be depressed. You're going to have a terrible existence as long as you keep the Lord at hand. You keep him far away, and then you're seeking for your other means of satisfaction. God will let you have those means. Okay? You're saved. You're still a Christian. But you're not enjoying life. And I wish I could just go through and touch people and say, here, know this, but it's hard to do. Because the deceitfulness of sin is really strong in your lusts. And the more you're under the dependence of sin, the more your lusts are prevalent. I mean, it's a vicious cycle. Anyway, that's all I want to try to get at today. Is just walk circumspectly. Employ yourself to the things that are right in God's eyes. Seek to know him and his ways further. Seek to know him and his righteousness. And he says he'll provide everything for you if you do that. But there is a stipulation. You need to seek him daily. You need to be in your scriptures. You need to be praying. You need to be talking with other believers. You need to be just seeking him. You need to be teaching them to your family. You need to be teaching them to your friends. You need to be speaking about them when you can. You need to be, all about him. And he'll take care of everything. And I'm here to tell you, he does. I have no lack in my life. Everything that I need is supplied. Every need. And I mean way more than what I would ever expect. I'm just a plumber. I don't make a lot of money at all. But if you get in my house, you'd be like, what the hell? We've been here 2 years and this thing is overflowing with crap. We're trying to sell stuff all the time. Because it's like, it's like God just has opened up the blessings. And we're just like, cool, we love it. And we got to remember to be thankful for it. Everything. My wife just bought a sign at a yard sale, which is something that's so great just to remember. And at the risk of sounding cliche, but it's this one that says, Lord, I just want to thank you today and ask you for nothing for myself, but just to thank you for everything that I have. And that's the mindset that we need to keep reminding ourselves of, because we don't deserve any of this. We deserve death, you guys. Anything above death that the Lord has given us is a blessing, you guys. My children, my wife, my family, my house, everything I have is something that I don't deserve. You guys, I am a scumbag. Honestly, according to the world and according to understanding, but if I was going to judge myself by my own estimation of what a man ought to be, I'm a coward, I'm a weakling, I'm ugly, fat, smelly. If I was going to live as though my opinion mattered, I would be depressed all the time. I'm getting old, getting hair in all kinds of crazy places, but you're just never satisfied if you ever want to judge yourself by yourself. The only way to the peace is to shut that off and hear what the Lord has said. Okay, I hope this makes sense to people. And I just want to leave you with a scripture, one of my favorite scriptures. But it's talking about David whenever he gets the ark back from Obed-Edom. And so it says, and it was so when they had, and this is 2 Samuel 6:13. And it was so that when they that bare the ark of the Lord had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings, and David danced before the Lord with all of his might. And David was girded with a linen ephod in his underwear. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of a trumpet. And as the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw the king David leaping and dancing before the Lord. And she despised him in her heart. And they brought in the ark of the Lord and set it in the place in the midst of the tabernacle that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord, which is another whole topic that he was offering offerings. But anyway, and as soon as David had made an end of offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts. And he dealt among all the people, among the whole multitude of Israel, as well as to the women, as to the men, to everyone a cake of bread and a good piece of flesh and a flagon of wine. So all the people departed, everyone to his house. Then David returned to bless his household. And Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David, and she said, "How glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of the handmaids and of his servants, as one of the vain fellows, shamelessly uncovering himself." David said unto Michal, "It was before the Lord which chose me before thy father, and before all his house to appoint me ruler over the people of the Lord, over Israel. Therefore I will play before the Lord, and I will yet be more vile than this, and I will be base in mine own sight. And of the maidservants which you have spoken of them shall I be had in honor." Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children of the day of her death. So you got to be careful, First of all, I just love how David was willing to just make himself vain in the eyes of men. He was willing to just, give up everything that people thought about him for the Lord. He didn't care. But David also understood that in humbling himself and becoming as one of his own people, it wasn't weakness, it was strength. He knew that these people would hold him in high honor, and these people would appreciate him, and that it would lift them up when he comes to their level, you guys. And think about that with Jesus. How he came to our level and it lifted our level up. Because if perfection looks like you, then you are exalted. All right, my brothers and sisters, have a wonderful day. Don't listen to pastors and dipshit preachers on the radio. Don't listen to these cemeterians. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're completely blind to the fact that Christ has done this. They have not entered into the kingdom, and they are preventing you that would. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. Just enjoy Jesus. All right, later.